Happy New Year 2026. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is something that I haven't done in a while. It's like starting all over, getting all the settings back and all these other things that, are required to have a decent podcast. So, um, yeah, we're here, 2026. Thank you for tuning in to Kamoon Associates Real Estate Podcast. Here talking about the new year, the real estate changes that have occurred from 2025 to 2026. I know it's early in the year, but there's been a lot of changes. We're going to talk about loans, property management. We're going to talk about goals, investing, a lot of different things that are very important that we don't talk about that often because we're so busy in our day to day. So just want to say thanks again for tuning in. This year, we're going to do more podcasts that are going to be more touch like very important key points that are relevant in the real estate market. We're going to do some scenarios. Like for example, I want to talk about if you're 18, like what should you be doing in the real estate world or investing world or crypto space or whatnot. If you're 25, 30, 35, like what are the things that I would recommend somebody that's younger than myself to do to prepare themselves for the future? So, like I mentioned, 2026. I think today's date is the 15th of January, and man, it's been a great year thus far. A lot of great things have happened, but that's all because we had a great 2025. So planning your year, always like I've always said, plan your days, plan your weeks, plan your months, plan your year. Don't plan for 1 year, plan for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Like really think about it. Get a journal out, start logging these things. Like where do you want to be when, in 20 years from now? Where do you want to be? Write it down. Think about it. Because the only way you're going to get there is by writing it and thinking about it and manifesting it. So that's huge. For me to reflect on 2025, um, the biggest things that I seen my business grow was my property management. For myself, real estate's always been great. We've done great work last year in real estate world. Um, and now the property management was in a new addition that we brought into the business, and we are just taking off. It's doing great. So very, very fortunate, very blessed. The reason I like property management is because it's another business inside of real estate. So not only do I help people buy homes, which I love helping people buy homes, I also sell homes, which I love helping people sell homes, and negotiations is my strongest strength. So negotiating price up, being firm with the agents, um, negotiating the deal till the end, making sure it closes. These things are very important to me and something that I really, really take pride in. Um, but there's other parts of the business and real estate that we can help you with. We can help you with the loans. We can help you with investing, and it doesn't always have to be a home. It can also be land. So, just some things for you to think about. Um, New projects for 2026. We're trying our absolute best to build a house. We're trying our absolute best to double our property management. We're trying our absolute best to do 25 loans this year. We're trying our absolute best to do $50,000 in work around this property, $50,000 in work on the business. That's the budget that we've set aside for house growth, business growth, personal growth, whether that be going out to trainings and this, that, and the other. So there's a lot of things that we're working on to better ourselves because I feel like the previous years it's been a little bit on the holding off, maybe having a little bit too much fun. Now it's time to say, all right, enjoy your fun, enjoy your time off. But, there's got to be a time where you say, okay, we had a great time. I enjoyed it. It was very worth it. But we need to sit down, buckle down. We got to create a plan and get back to work. So I really feel like 2026 is going to be that. But you know what I hate is we get all excited about a new year and it's like, sure, it's a new year and it's a lot to be excited for and, new, right? But what we need to do is we need to think of every day as a new year. that beginning of like, this is a new year, a new day, and have that excitement throughout the whole year. Do that for the week. At the end of my week, my last page of my calendar that I make, there's a reflection portion at the bottom, and it allows me time to think about my week. I put on there, what am I grateful for? What did I accomplish this week? Because I also have my goals for the week. Did I accomplish, two, three, four of them? That's great. Did I do what I said I was supposed to do? Did I commit on what I was supposed to commit? And I will quickly identify that there's a pattern of, you know, 4 or 5 things that I'm always supposed to do, but I never do. And these are the habits that we need to implement every single day, even though we don't want to, so that way we can create a successful week, successful month, year, decade. So, those are the types of things that we should be thinking about is, what am I going to work on in 2026? What are the things that I'm excited about? Right? We have this talk like every year, and you probably have this talk with many other people every single year. New year, new me. So, anyways, the real estate, man, has been changing so much. If you think about house prices in 2025, house prices were higher than they are now. In certain areas, it can be a little bit, flip flop where it's still the same or whatnot. But for the most part, a house last year was a little bit more expensive than it is this year. So house prices have been coming down a tiny bit. Interest rates are better. We just had a rate cut. Fannie and Freddie are buying like so many billions of dollars worth of loans. And when that became public, then rates instantly dropped like a quarter point, which is great for us, great for the lending space, the refinance space, loans across the board. So rates lower, prices a little bit lower, but what's happening? Like, what's going to happen? Do we think in like 6 months to a year? I really don't dive into like predictions, just because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But if you can kind of just look at what's going on right now, it I just feel like it has to go down. People are struggling, even though the workforce is doing well. People are still struggling. The debt is like, I don't know what I read the other day was like over $1 trillion of credit card debt. Um, so things are definitely in a crazy place where we have so much debt. We're up to our noses in debt, and trying to keep up with the Joneses and everything else that us as humans we do on a normal basis, trying to live this amazing life that we're blessed to have. Um, but what does that do to our market? So obviously this year I'm expecting house prices to go down a tiny bit more. I don't think it's going to be some massive price drop like in 2008, 2010, but you never know. Interest rates, I'm hoping that they continue to go down the way they've been going down. And I hope that, we're in a place where we can see fives as a new norm for this year. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. But like I said, overall, the market, I feel like it's going to get better and better and better as we get into these quarters. So, yeah, regarding loans, I just want you guys to know that if you have a home right now and you do not want to refinance because you have a great rate, you have options. There's a home equity loan. There's a home equity line of credit. These are two completely different types of loans. The home equity loan is a fixed rate. It's for a fixed amount that you can only use once. So, compared to a home equity line of credit, it's not a fixed rate. It's adjustable. Um, the amount that you have, it's like a credit card. You pay it off. You can use that again. So, for example, if you pulled out $250,000, you borrowed, you used about 200 of it, then you paid it back. Well, now that $250,000 is available for you to use again, whether it's on another flip or whatever else you might want to use it for. So huge difference in programs, but same concept. It's using your house as equity, the amount that the value has went up and the balance been paid down, the equity, it's using that as a credit card or a loan that you can use to propel your business, propel your life, whatever it might be. Um, Another really, really good program is a DSCR loan. A DSCR loan is a loan that actually only looks at the property. So if the property is producing the minimum qualifying numbers for this loan, then that property qualifies for the deal, not necessarily you. Not, what I mean by that is we're not going to ask you for bank statements, tax returns, and things of that nature. So DSCR loan is another very good investment product. One of the downfalls with that is you have to put about 20% down, sometimes 25% down. And the reason for that is it's a good investment for the lender. So if for any reason you default and the property is paying for itself, um, it's already paid 20% to 25% down. They can easily sell this property and get their money back. So DSCR loan's a great product. The rates are a little bit higher generally for a DSCR loan, but a great product. Going back to the home loan is fixed and it's a better rate than home equity line of credit. The home equity line of credit is generally higher interest, but it's also adjustable. Okay, so a lot of other details that go into that. If you guys are interested in a home equity line of credit or a home loan or a DSCR loan, just reach out to me and we can get you all the information that you need to make an educated decision on what program would be best for you and your situation. Lastly, another thing is I know things are getting a little expensive, right? So sometimes some people their only option is to purchase like a mobile home inside a mobile home park. There are options, and there's actually lenders that work with buyers to buy these mobile homes, which is essentially a car that you can live in, that you park inside of a park, and that park charges you a space rent every month. So that space rent is like parking your vehicle, storage. Okay. And then you're gonna have your note per se on your actual mobile home. So that's definitely not a conforming loan. That's a private type of a loan that is definitely doable because the other option is a manufactured home that is conforming that can be financed through FHA and conventional type of loans. Now, there are some requirements. Some of the biggest requirements for purchasing a manufactured home is it has to be built like after 1977. It has to be on a permanent foundation, um, a double wide. I've seen I've seen single wides slip through the cracks somehow, some way. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the qualifiers is it's supposed to be a double wide. And lastly, you cannot have purchased that from like a neighbor or an aunt or an uncle or whatever else. It was supposed to have been purchased from like the dealer. So those are the major qualifiers on purchasing a manufactured home that has a permanent foundation, 433A, and all that stuff combined allows that property to be financeable. So if you see a property, manufactured home, and let's just say 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath homes are generally selling for, let's say 500,000, but then you see a manufactured home that's selling for, let's just say 280,000. Well, there's a great chance that does not meet all the requirements. It could be too old and it can possibly not have a 433A permanent foundation. So, when you're looking online or your agent's sending you properties and you see something, don't get too excited. This is generally for when you're looking online because the criteria cannot be customized so narrowly to limit the year, the 433A, this, then the other, as it can be with an agent. So when you're looking online, you can get highly excited because you see an amazing deal, but then deflated because your agent tells you, oh, it doesn't meet all the qualifying factors to be financed. So keep that in mind, guys. That's a big one. I always deal with that one. Um, that one hurts when clients are like, hey, I found the perfect home. We look at it. It's either A, in a senior community, which you have to be 55 or older to live in, or B, it's built in 1972 and it's not financeable. Or it has a handful of other issues and does not have a 433A. So just keep that in mind, guys. Property management. So as you guys know, I am a property manager. What I do is I manage properties for landlords. Landlords have buildings, properties, and they just want to collect the money. They don't want to deal with the day to day, the maintenance, the collecting rents, communicating with the tenants, and saying, "Hey, where's my rent? Give me a late fee." That's the thing that we do to help you. Just sit back, kick up your feet, relax. Let us take care of all the stress, the maintenance, the issues, and everything. And you just collect your check at the end of each month. And at the end of the year, we'll send you a nice packet for your tax guy. They can take a look at our income and expense report and then easily just calculate what your profits were for the year, so that way you can do your taxes. It's a way that we simplify the process and make it just as easy as possible, so that way owning property can go back to being a joy and not, some problematic legal jargon that you have to deal with every 30 days. Like I mentioned, we do accounting, we do the maintenance. What we do is, like, if there's an issue, we'll send somebody over there to do an initial inspection, make sure that it is an electrical issue or it is a plumbing issue that needs to be handled by a professional, or if it's just something that you get a screwdriver and tighten it up. We take care of all the legal stuff. As a property manager, we have continued education, and this is what keeps us in the know of all the new laws. So making sure that you're in the right place with your services is very, very important. Sometimes as a landlord managed property, you forget some of these basic laws and things that can get you in big trouble. So yeah. There's a lot of recent changes. You're gonna be surprised. I mean, one of the newest things is that the refrigerator has to be placed in all the units, and if the tenant does not want your refrigerator, then an addendum noting that they don't want your refrigerator has to be signed and kept on file. There's a lot of tricky legalities with pets. What's allowed, what's not allowed. Me, when they say, "Hey, do you accept pets?" I say, "You know what? If your insurance will insure your pet, then we'll accept your pet." You still have the option to not select that client, but that's my general verbiage for every client that's looking to rent a property that I manage. And we are absolutely fair. We do not discriminate. And these are things that you have to do, especially in California. It's 2026. And if you screw something up, it could be the end of your relationship with that client, and it could be the end of your I guess your job. You can potentially lose your job. So being proficient and being accurate with your property management is very, very important. One of the biggest headaches is evictions. Evicting somebody because you've been collecting rent for them for a year, 2 years, 3 years. They've come into this rough time of their life, so yes, you feel bad for the situation, but at the end of the day, you have to do a job, and that's collect rent. And if not, you have to go to an eviction. We just did an eviction on a property, and it was a pain in the butt. A pain in the butt. Hiring an eviction service is about, I don't know, $2,000 start to finish. They do everything by email and things of that nature, so it generally takes a few months longer than if you were to do it on your own. So yeah, evictions are lengthy. They are problemsome, but at the end of the day, that's part of the game of being a landlord. So it's going to happen at some point in some time. But we're crossing our fingers that we do the best job possible on screening. We do credit checks. We do background checks. We also do eviction checks. We communicate with the employers and verify their income, verify their rents that they've been paying at previous locations that they've lived at. And, we get a good feel of the potential tenant, and then we make the best decision possible for our landlords. We've done really well, but there's always, that chance that you're going to get somebody that is going to screw things up for a little bit. So With that being said, let's move on to the next topic. Investments, 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 investments. You know, you need to evaluate the last 10 years of your life. You need to sit back and really evaluate the last 10 years of your life and go, okay, how much fun did I have? And cherish it, because you're blessed to be able to have fun and enjoy your day, enjoy your years, enjoy your youth, enjoy your midlife, the end of your life, enjoy it at all. Um, but if you're younger, enjoy that time. But at the same time, you need to ask yourself, how much money did you make? You need to ask yourself many other questions. How's your relationship with your mother, your father, God? So many other different variables. It's not just money. It's not just retirement. There's so many other things. That's why when I see people that are like financial gurus and their whole agenda is money, 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 or a brand new agent, their whole agenda is marketing, video, this, that. But there's, you know, a good balance is going to be what's going to be best for most people. You cannot be 100% money, because then you fall short on what relationships. Or you could be good at those two, but then maybe you're not a believer. And I'm not saying that, what's the right way to say this? I'm a believer, and it's very important to me that I follow certain things and try my best to be the best that I can be. Not only for myself, but for my kids to be an example, and for my relationship with Jesus Christ. But there's so many different variables that need to be in line and need to be at the right level. Because otherwise, if you're just a cold caller, then you're missing out on other facets of the business. If you're just a financial guy, but how's your finance? I'm sorry, if you're just a financial guy, how's your gym? How's your physique looking? If you're just a gym guy, how's your money situation looking? How's your relationship with your parents looking? There's so many other things. So it's like, how much money did you make? It's important, because that gives us the ability to live the life that we want to live. But at some point, you have to say, okay, I've had a lot of fun. I've made a lot of money. What have I done with my money? Because just because you make a lot of money doesn't mean anything. I know people that make a lot of money, they don't have anything but a nice car and a nice house. That's it. You need to start thinking about investing. You need to start thinking about, how am I going to make the money that I have now last me till I'm 70, 80. So you can consider an IRA, a stock. You can consider multiple different ways to save money. Crypto, there's so many things. One of the most important things, and something that I've found, is buying property. Not only because I'm a real estate broker, but because I've seen it, I've done it. You only have 30 grand, buy a piece of land, see what happens in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It's going to double, especially if you get a good deal on the land, because then you already have a built-in $10,000, $15,000 of equity. Now, if you buy a property, DSCR loan, you could flip one. There's so many things you can do. Make an extra 30, 40, 50 off of your initial investment. Make your money last longer. But the problem is that investments generally are not fun. So instead of getting the fancy car, instead of getting the big beautiful house on the hill, instead of buying the Gucci and the Louis and the this and the that, put all that to the side and invest. That's hard, because you don't get what we all want. We all want that gratification of, look, I made it. I got my $50,000 rollie. I got my $10,000 bag. I got whatever it is, whatever your vice is, whatever the thing that you need, that you want, that you don't need. Those things, putting those to the side for an investment, and then having to wait 10 years until it makes a lot of sense. That's what investing looks like at the end of the day. So, some people ask me, hey, what's up with the Corvette? You ever going to buy it? And I'm like, man, I can buy it right now, right? It's only 75, 85,000. A lot of money still, but not really a deal breaker. It's like, go buy it. Let's go. But what can I do better with 85, $100,000? So many things I can do better. So for me, I think I've already conditioned my mind to sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. So that way when I'm 45, 50, man, it's going to be an amazing life that I'm going to be living. I'm already living a great life, and I'm blessed. And I thank God so much for what He's given me. Um, it did come through hard work and dedication and a lot of sacrifices. But man, I'm so happy about the position that I'm in right now because I've had a blast. I've had a great time. I've done so many things. Not so much traveling, which I would like to do, but I've done so many things. I've camping, desert, fishing, side by sides, trailers, trucks, motorcycles, everything, everything under the sun. I've lived it, and I still do it, and it's amazing. And I have great memories and all those things. So I feel like I haven't splurged. I don't have the nicest cars. I don't have the nicest toys. I have just enough to enjoy it, but not enough to be, keeping up with the Joneses. So that's a sacrifice that I've made because I've rather invest crypto, stocks, land, home purchases, rentals, whatever it is that I do. I've sacrificed so much to get to where I'm at. So that way, when I'm 40, 45, 50, man, I can really start enjoying life versus nice bag, nice watch, nice bag, nice car, nice house, nice this, nice that. It all catches up to you. It's like a compound effect. Before you know it, you're 50 years old and you got nothing. So, you guys, really evaluate what have you done in the last 10 years? If you were to squeeze everything out of the wet rag onto the table, what do you have? And if you don't have much, don't be too hard on yourself. Let's start now and let's start investing. Let's start now and let's start with the small stuff, what you can do. Buy a $20,000 piece of land. If that's too much, put some money in crypto. Some people are 50-50 on that. Put some money in stocks. Some money in your 401k. I don't really like the 401k. It ties your money up. Your money's tied up. You can't touch it. You can. There's ways to take money out, but then you got to pay it back. You can't really touch it. Now, land, if you buy land, I'll give you an example. I had a client. They bought a piece of land for $30,000. 2 years later, they want to sell it. It's worth about $80,000. First of all, those are great numbers. You probably won't do that in the stock market unless you're very aggressive and you're more of a day trader. You could see some results like that in crypto, especially if you know exactly what you're doing, but that's a science as well. What I'm trying to say is the average Joe can buy a piece of land or a house, and then it can increase in value, and you can sell it, and that money's back in your pocket, and you don't get penalized so much like you would on a 401k. They take like almost 50% of your money if you withdraw too soon. So just keep that in mind. But yes, investments, it's tough. It kind of, is a stinky road to making money, but it's a sacrifice that you have to make in order to have that financial freedom when you're older. Otherwise, you're going to be on the hamster wheel, working for the rest of your life because you can't do it just with your 9 to 5. I mean, unless you're making $500,000 a year, then you really can't do it with just your 9 to 5 income. So you have to put these investments in place, guys. I know I'm beating that one up, but it's that important. Like, you got to do it. But how are you going to achieve that? What do I always say? I always say goals, write them down, make a list. I've told this to my daughter. I've told this to my son. I've told this to everyone I talk to. How do you expect to be successful if you don't at least write down what you're thriving for? And then obviously reverse engineer it, What do I want? I want X. What is it going to take for me to get there? X, Y, Z. What do I got to do X, Y, and Z? Do this every day, every week, every month, every year, and you should achieve that. I don't understand how people get that confused. There's no confusion. Here's your goals. Here's what you need to do. Do it. Now, doing it is the hardest part. I I fail every day. Um, every day there's so many things that I fail at. But guess what? There's also a handful of things that I don't fail at. And if you can stack up 5 or 6 or 7 things every single day, or 5 or 6, 7 bigger things every single week, imagine in 1 year how much damage you're going to do in a positive way. How much progress you're going to make in 1 year just based off of chipping away at it week after week, month after month, year after year. So, for me, example, my biggest struggle is I love food, and I haven't learned a way to eat good, delicious food that isn't 15,000 calories each sitting. So, my goal is to lose weight. If you want to hold me accountable, I weigh about 230 pounds right now. I would like to lose 25 pounds this year in 2026. Now, I have been making some efforts, but I do this every year. And then guess what? After some time, I fall off. And then, I just can't do it. Now, I don't know why it's been so difficult as of the last few years to lose weight, but it has. So 2026, I told myself I'm not gonna do some crazy. Got to go to the gym every single day, but I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. And I've been doing a great job of going because I can go play basketball at nights. When I'm not super busy with work, I can go to the gym in the mornings. If I'm really lucky, I can go maybe do gym in the morning, basketball at nights. So there's a system that I have in place that I can reach my goals. Now, eating, I'm fortunate because um, eating is for me. It's yes, I love eating, but I'm fortunate because I can find healthy ways. I just have to do it. That's the thing is I just have to do it. Another one of my goals is property management. We want to double property management, so that's one of my big goals. If you're a real estate agent and you have somebody that's looking to rent their properties, but they don't want to manage it, we you can put it on the market, you can rent it out, we'll help you, and then once you get it rented, then we can manage the client. You could use us as a resource, and we can assist you in the screening process, as long as we have an agreement that we're going to be the managing partner. So if you're an agent, we can team up and have a partnership where we help you screen and do all the contracts. That way, when we take it over, we're the property management. We'll take care of everything else going there. Another big goal of mine is making this more of a business. So we have all the things in place, insurance, corporations set up with the IRS, but we need to make it a little bit more. We need to scale it. So we need to go from where we're at. We want to double that. We want to get a vehicle, a truck, put this Kamoon Associates property management on the side. These are some of the things that are in our future ahead. And like I said, property management is its own little division, separate really from the real estate business because of financial obligations and legal. So, yes. So if you have somebody that wants to have their properties managed, whether it's commercial or residential, we have you covered. Another really big goal of mine is investing more, pushing through. And what I mean by pushing through is, like I said, the Corvette. Like, I can go splurge and do that, but in a year and a half, guess what? The Corvette's old. Um, so I need to push through my small desires and then go after those investments. Something that's going to propel me for the next 10, 15 years. Something that's going to be a positive. Um, I want to build something. I want to build something that when I look back, I can go, wow, I can't believe I did all that. I want to be an inspiration to my kids. I want them to say, wow, Dad, he was tough on me, and I think he loved me. But man, look what he did. When this is all said and done, to Riley and to Zeke, I want them to know, like, obviously, I love them with all my heart, and everything I'm doing today is for you guys. It's for my little inner circle, my people. Um, and honestly, if the Lord blesses me, which He has a ton, but if I get to a place where I can give more, I want to give more to so many more people in my family. I want to bless those in my circle. Like anybody that's I'm connected to, I want to bless them. So that's my mission. But I want to really enjoy life. Like that's what life is about. Is it's not working. It's not 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 9 to 5. Bigger house, bigger house, bigger house, nicer car, nicer car. It's you know taking your daughter, I don't know, to the mountains, go on a hike, taking your son fishing, going to church together, um, taking a family trip, going out to the desert, shooting some guns. Like, those are the things that really matter to me. And I know that you probably feel the same way. Because if you watch this much of this podcast or this clip, then that means you're in my inner group. Yeah, we're cool like that. And if you have gotten this far in this clip, in this video, give us a thumbs up, give us a little like, share it. We're trying to grow the page. That's another goal, is trying to grow the page because it's important to have a social presence. So I can touch on that later. But ultimately, it's build my empire, build something strong enough that it can sustain my kids, it could sustain their kids, my grandkids. Um, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it stops there. The other half of it is raising kids that have a good mindset, that are strong, that have that willpower to keep pushing. And I know, I know it's tough to see it in our young kids, but they have it in them. And I know my daughter and my son, I know they have it in them. A lot of young kids that I'm around, I see something special in a lot of them. So it's not like, you know, my kids are, here or there. There's so many things that so many kids I see have blessings and they have talents. Some that I don't even have, but nonetheless, passing this torch to my kids where they can now manage my mini empire and either progress it, sell it, and make wise decisions and make their life easy. Because my mission is to make their life easy when it needs to be, but hard when it needs to be as well. And I believe a hard youth and young adult life is great to get that solid foundation for, for them to be parents and for their future. Um, you know, those are the big important things for me. One other thing that I want to touch basis on was we're talking about pass the torch, this, that, and the other. But if you have a home and it's not in a trust, that should be the number one focus for you, is get a trust. It's like $1,500, $2,000, depending on who you use. Get a trust, put the property in there. Anything else that you have, put it in there. Your bank accounts can be put in there. Your vehicles could as well, but that's on a separate ledger. Um, but if you pass, you want to avoid probate. And the dumbest thing that you can do is purchase a home, not put it in a trust. Something happened, and the kids have to fight to keep the property, and whatever else headaches come with probate. We're all going to die. Let's figure out where exactly our property is going. And if you really want to be ahead of the curve, pay for your burial site now. It's going to be cheaper today than it's going to be in 15, 20 years. The last thing you want to do is have your kids doing a car wash to bury you. So think about that. Um, Future planning, the trust, avoid probate. When you pass, have your burial stuff all arranged. That way, It's not a headache. It's not a big deal. Dad already paid for the spot. He's gonna get buried. We already have the location for the venue. Um, the house is, taken care of. The other assets are taken care of. We're gonna be fine. And that's that. That's the way it's supposed to happen. So do that. Do that stuff ASAP. All right. So here we go. Scenario. What if I'm 18 years old, fresh out of high school? Let's say you're going to college and you make about $2,000 a month. What should you do with your money? Well, I'm going to talk only to the person that is thinking about buying a house in the next 7 years after high school, which is probably about 80% of you guys. So, what can you do to prepare yourself to purchase a home between the age of 18 plus 7 years? Okay. So, number one thing is definitely take care of your credit. Take care of your credit. That's very important. The better your credit score, the cheaper the rate is for you, so you're saving money. The next thing is when you're buying a home, you have to have work history. So you want to start building some sort of consistent work history. We only need 2 years. So think about that. You can strategize however which way, but when you're thinking about purchasing a home, you need to be in the same field for at least 2 years with tax returns. What that means is you cannot be, for example, a doctor for 1 year and then the next year, I don't know, let's say a smog mechanic for vehicles. Completely two different lines of business. It's a downgrade in pay. Doesn't make sense. What could be a possible solution is you're a truck driver for FedEx for a year, and then you go to become a truck driver for Amazon for a year. Same field, 2 years, two tax returns. I can do that. So strategize so that way when you are going to purchase, the last 2 years you need to have two tax returns, similar job. Okay. The other thing is your debt. Your debt. DEBT, debt. Keep your credit cards under 50%. Okay, so if you have $1,000 balance and you owe $750, take it down to $500. Once you get all your credit cards under 50%, then start working on getting them under 25%. If you keep your utilization under 25%, you're golden. And even better if it's under 15%. So keep your credit card use low. Make those payments every single month. If you really want to double up, make 2 payments every single month. And that's going to really help your credit and your credit score. Okay? So those are the biggest factors for buying a home. But what about saving money? Now, when you buy a home for an FHA loan, they give you as low as 3.5% for a down payment. So keep that in mind. You need to start saving money. A lot of people don't understand you also have closing costs, which is about another 2.5%. So really, it's about 6% for a down payment and closing costs that you need to save to have in your bank. That way you can put that for down payment and closing costs on your first home. Now, there are programs out there. There's a program for everything. There's grants for everything. Grants you apply for, you receive them. You don't have to pay them back. That's free money. But there's programs out there where they'll give you $10,000, $20,000, 20% of your down payment. You have to pay it back. There's terms. And if you stay in the house for X amount of years, you might not have to pay it all back. There's so many different options. Okay. There's a lot of good out there and there's also a lot of bad out there. And what I mean by that is sometimes it makes sense right now, but you have a higher interest rate and you have to pay it back at the end. So give me a call. Let me know if you have any questions regarding your loan. I can definitely assist you with finding out all the details to make sure you're making the best decision for you and your family. So now that you saved money, you know how much money you need to save. Your credit's good. Your work history is good. you need to start thinking about this. Do I buy the fancy car or expensive car? I'm not even going to say fancy car because there's some expensive cars out there that are not quote unquote fancy, but they're still expensive. Do you buy the expensive car? Do you start loading up on the Louis bags? Do you start splurging, going to fancy dinners, posting on Instagram every day that you're at a fancy dinner? Do you buy coffee every single day? Are these the types of habits, behaviors that somebody that's working to invest in their future has? Not really. Not really. I mean, if you're making, $25,000 a month, sure, go get your coffee every day and enjoy it. But for the most part, most of you guys are not making those types of figures. So save your money. Stop spending all your money on coffee, eating out at dinners, the fancy, watches, purses, cars, whatever else it might be. Sacrifice, discipline, and get that first property. Now, here's another thing. If your realtor has not told you this, smack them upside the head. I'm going to tell you for them. Don't get married just yet. Before you get married, you try to buy a house, duplex, triplex, fourplex, and your boyfriend, fiance, soon to be, buy a duplex, triplex, fourplex. Live in there for a year, get married. Now you guys have both one property. You buy your new home together, so you have 3 homes as a married couple, right? Because you can only utilize certain programs, especially a first-time home buyer program, once with every home, and after you sell it, you got to wait three years or so to become a new first-time home buyer. So take advantage of those programs. Get your duplex or fourplex. He or she gets their duplex or fourplex, live in there for a year, and then now you're married. Buy your guys' home together, and that is an amazing hack. That way, you guys both can utilize this program, because if you're married, you guys can only use it together as one. Because if you're married, you guys are going to be on the loan, on title together as a married couple. Okay, so if you do it as an unmarried, you guys can both purchase a property, and there's no issues with that. So if your realtor didn't tell you that, smack them upside the face, because this is knowledge that's going to propel you and your significant other for future financial success. If I was 30 years old, what would I do right now? I would do those same few steps, but I would start thinking, hey, I'm already approaching 30. I need to speed this up. So I would be looking more at duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, not single family. Something that I can live in, rent out the other 2 or 3 units, and start building my business, building my portfolio. You should be able to buy one house every 3-4 years. And if you're very aggressive, you could buy one a year. So many things that you can do. Save money, DSCR loans. There's so many things that you can do. You need to contact me, send me a message saying, hey, I would like to invest in some properties. I would like to invest in some land. I need help. Help me out. And we'll definitely give you a blueprint on what you need to do to succeed in getting these deals, because there's so many deals out there. But if you're not communicating with me, your agent, your lender, they're not going to know you're on the fence, and you need some motivation or some inspiration to get off the fence and get in the game. So I hope that these tips were helpful. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. And like I said, it's 2026, and it's going to be an amazing year. If you guys have any questions, like I said, reach out to us. We'll definitely be more than excited to help you. Our goal is to help not only ourselves and our business and our goals, but also help you reach your goals. So if you have any questions, you guys can reach us here on this platform. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all those things. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if I can leave you with one last thing, that is, don't forget to have a good time, live the best life that you possibly can, but be grateful and share. You know what I mean? Give back to those people that you can give back to. Spend that extra time with your family, with your kids, and be the best person you possibly can be. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later. Signing out from Kamoon Associates.